Dobrý den.
Dobrý den, or hello again. Let's switch to English.
Hello, of course.
So we'll see if everyone else or anyone else is coming, but nobody is here at the moment. So, welcome everyone to our last inspirational talk. Today's guest is Mrs. Marie Absolonova, if I'm correct. And she's
Yes.
our former graduate, the former graduate of our school, the Secondary School of Applied Art in Uherské Hradiště. And she's a shoemaker and content maker. And for me not to get anything incorrect, I will let her speak. So, Maruško, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for inviting me to do this presentation today. I hope you will find interesting what I have here to show you today. So I would like to start by introducing myself, and I will share my little presentation. Can you see it? It's okay?
Yeah, works really well.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to start by introducing myself and then talk a little bit about my journey and evolution as a designer. And in the end, there will be, of course, time for questions. And I will only touch briefly on some topics so then we can go deeper into it later. So my name is Marie Absolonova. I am a footwear designer from Czech Republic. And I have entered the world of footwear 20 years ago, which makes me feel quite old. I was 16 back then, and it was at the Secondary School of Applied Arts in Uherské Hradiště, as you already mentioned, where I studied design and shoemaking. The course is quite a rarity in Europe, and I assume in a whole world, actually. And it is very artisan focused. I think that it rooted my design style in classical shoes, and until now, the craft of traditional shoemaking is still my strongest influence. So my approach to design, therefore, started as a very artisanal and handmade, and it was slowly shaped by my experience in the industry. Mainly, I would say, by my work for Camper, where innovation is very advanced and kind of a key to the core of the brand. Right now, I think my style became a fusion of these references. Contemporary vintage is how someone could describe it. So I do not consider myself an innovative designer. I find the inspiration mainly in people and in vintage shoes. I would say it is style oriented, but I pay a lot of attention to comfort and materials too. The most important elements of the shoe design for me are silhouette and color. And I like when shoe tells a story, when the design feels a bit more personal. So currently I live in Prague and I work as a freelancer. Apart from working for Camper Women and Kids, I recently started taking on other startup projects, and I hope to have more time for more personal work in the future. But let's start at the beginning. Somebody once told me that if you want to get to know the person, I mean, in the context of their creative work, you should look at their early work because that is kind of the essence. And it might not be refined or perfect yet at that moment, but it usually reflects quite well who they are as an artist, because it's not polished by experience and too much opinion yet. That's why I would like to show you some of my early work that I don't usually share. So I would like to show you a glimpse of my first professional experience. So still at college, in 2011, I created a collection of extremely high platforms for a Parisian designer, Anne-Valérie H, for her fashion show at Paris Fashion Week. I collaborated on it with a Czech shoemaker from Brno. At that moment, I had zero experience, and I arrived in Paris with a bag of these shoes, and I basically learned the hard way that footwear has to be comfortable, as the models had a really hard time to walk on them. And I think that traumatized me a little bit. So since then, my shoes are very comfortable, and I never did high heels again. So this is what the product looked like. And as you can see, and as you can imagine, almost impossible to wear. And as a reaction to this experience, for my next project, I did a comfortable low heel. And I wanted to show you this one because I think that this collection established low or mid heel as my favorite typology. So the aesthetic is still very refined, but it also has already integrated the comfort element. And now I would like to show you my bachelor project. What you see in these pictures is an inspiration for this project, which is extremely straightforward. So the idea was to create 5 pairs of shoes for 6 of my best friends. The idea is that the final shoe are reminiscent of them and should be somehow a reflection of how I see them. And at the same time, I wanted my friends to be able to wear the shoes, which failed in some cases, but actually succeeded in few cases. There is obviously nothing deep about this idea, but I think that for me, it was actually a very important step towards more of a product thinking. To be able to imagine a person, a real client behind the shoe was another step for me towards acknowledging that shoe is actually a product that functions within a context and that someone should eventually wear, and it's not an object. So this sounds extremely simple, but for me, it was actually a big deal to realize this at that moment. And this is the result. Okay, so another project. For me, there is a big value in collaboration. I think that you can learn a lot about you if you work with somebody else. And for me, it was a very organic process to create a collection of shoes for a collection of Petra Gabaš when I was still in college. And this is a photo of the collection, like of her fashion show that she had in Prague. And this was still a time in my life when I imagined to have my own brand, but I was also realizing that I do not have the means to actually kick it off. And this collection was quite successful in a sense that we got some good press, we won some local competition for up-and-coming brands, but it didn't really bring us any real business. And maybe the situation would have been different now, but I think there was still a huge gap in between having a good collection and creating an actual brand that operates as a business. And to bridge this gap was something I could not even imagine back then. And to some extent, I can't until today. Okay, so in 2014, I got an offer to work for a Spanish footwear brand called Camper, and I moved to Mallorca. I started as a junior designer at the women-only team, and 3 years later, I became the head of the team. In 2019, after having my daughter, I started to design kids' shoes next to the women's shoes and next to being the manager. And when the pandemic hit in 2020, we decided to move back to Czech Republic. But I continue working for them as a freelancer until today. So far, I have designed around 40 collections for Camper. I will show you a very small selection of those that are the ones that I find the most interesting. So what you see here is actually my first collection for Camper. This collection was called Carolina, and I think it was quite successful because they were still selling it until very recently. And I would like to talk here a little bit about my design approach and how it developed. I think this collection illustrates well the evolution of my design style because it introduces classic heel, but it's done in rubber with interesting color combinations. It has a vintage vibe with contemporary twist. So I think it already carries all the elements that I think are often repeated in my work. And it was also for the first time that I worked in a more collaborative way on the product, which I really enjoyed and I still enjoy it. And these are some drawings of the twins, which we called like the idea that left and right shoes are different. They are going to become different with color. And another collection that I designed for Camper is called Kobo. And this was rather a commercial assignment. The briefing was very clear in terms of the height of the heel and the typology and the use it has to offer. And I explored the idea of monocolor shoes for the first time. And in Thelma, another collection that I did, I went a lot bolder with the volume of the outsole. This shoe was inspired by an old Camper product, and the exercise was about how to make it comfortable and contemporary shoe. And they are still selling these ones today. This is a collection in other colors and styles. And Brooke. So Brooke is one of the more special designs I did for Camper. It introduces very feminine shoe with a unique heel, profile, silhouette inspired in the 90s aesthetics and strong color blocking treatment. And this one is called Trisha. It introduces a loafer typology as the key typology of the collection. The shape of the outsole was inspired by organic shapes of furniture and ceramics. The toe last shape was taken from a classic men's loafer. And here I revisited the more organic design language of Thelma, but in a more refined and feminine way. Again, this line continued for several seasons and came in more colors like pinks and yellows. And in Trisha Sandal collection, I am revisiting the spirit of Carolina 4 years later. This time the final result is even more fun. The bubbly volume of the outsole, I think, works well with the puffed uppers that are inspired by homeware slippers and hotel shoes. Here you can see it in textiles and more colors. And another line I would like to show you is called Meda. An inspiration for this line and this whole summer collection is coming from the ocean. The uppers in the shapes of the waves are reminiscing the Mediterranean Sea. And some of them have the whole. Sorry?
Sorry, I just, can you see still the presentation?
No, and also, sorry, now.
And now?
Now it's okay. And for you?
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Yes, so these details on these shoes, they are reminiscing elements from the boats. And this.
So I'm sorry to stop you. I can't see the presentation now. I just can see.
Okay, so I will share it again. I don't know what happened. It seems like.
I will cut out this bit later.
Okay. It seems like I got disconnected for a second or something.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, now I can see it. Sorry.
Now you can see it. No problem at all. So, so the heel of this line, it's very simple and versatile, so it can be reimagined every season in a very different way. And now I will show you a selection of work that I have done for Camper Kids. This is my very first collection that I have done for them. For me, the transition from women to kids was quite an organic process. After 5 years only designing for women, I was excited to discover a new world and also learn some new things. And in this is a collection of summer sandals that are mainly twins, and they are inspired in sea motifs, as you can see here. I had a lot of fun designing this one. The goal here was to refresh an old camper base that is called Ratnina, and the result is a fun twins with stars and shells. And similar thing here. The brief was to create a new ballerina for girls. Yeah. Yeah, these are the ballerinas with the bows that also we are still now having them in the shops. And here is another little project. So this is now having a little break from showing you camper shoes, because here I inserted a page of my small collaboration with Accidente con Flores, which is my favorite brand from Mallorca. They work with local artisans, and everything is sourced and handmade on the island. So for me, this was kind of a nice little break from more like a big industry, assignments, let's say. And we created these espadreñas that they have ceramic shells on them. I created those shells myself by hand. I was craving kind of more like a handmade things and doing something by myself. Okay, and then let's go back to just showing you some new releases that recently they were introduced to the market. These are some fun sandals we did for like a little Christmas capsule collection, and this is a new line called Billy. And I think that's all that I have to show you. Oh, yes. I mean, I just put some screenshots from Instagram of people taking pictures and wearing the shoes that I designed. And that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Well, don't, that's just the start. I would say that was a very
perfect
introduction.
Introduction, yes.
Yeah, I've been making notes and I've got so many questions, really interesting. So the reason we are working on this project is to actually prepare something for our students and our future graduates, to show them that it is possible to earn living by doing something creative. So we are talking to various people that have managed that. And I think you're a really good example, especially as a shoemaker, because that's so unique, even for our school or for like core European environment. So I'll just go step by step and we'll start at the beginning. Why shoes? Why did you choose this school? I might have an idea, but why did you choose shoemaking? Because I think when you are 14 or 15, this is so specific.
No, that's a very good question. And it's a question I ask myself often. It was very random. I don't think there was a deep thought behind it. And also for me, it was a little bit of an escape from the shoe I was studying before, because before this art school, I was at gymnasium, which is this is secondary school, secondary grammar school. I don't know what is the English, like the translation of that. But I was at this school that I started from the 5th grade, actually. And Osmilete Gymnasium.
Yeah,
So I don't know the translation. Yeah, exactly.
Study program.
And it was like very intense and kind of just I think it was also me a little bit like rebelling against that system that was so extremely rigid. And at one point I was just didn't like it anymore and didn't kind of see, I don't know, and started to be maybe a little bit more critical about the system there. And so I just wanted to change. And this was just an intuition that I followed, and somehow my parents supported me in that decision. I trying to discourage me, obviously, in the first place, because it was not very rational decision. So, and why shoes? I mean, I don't know. I always was intrigued by this by fashion world, but at the same time I thought that shoes were more unique and more special, which is kind of the strength and weakness at the same time, like from a career perspective, let's say. But I just found it more interesting, and I think I got really lucky because I found out this much later on, but I am actually really, really bad at clothes, at least in terms of like creating the patterns and understanding the big volumes. I almost failed some courses at college that were like pattern making focused. I was not bad at doing patterns for shoes. For me, this is a totally different way of thinking. The scale is completely different. I really enjoy the small scale of shoes that it really everything fits onto your desk. And I am quite good at sculpture, but I'm not, I don't know, like for me, just these two things, I feel like from the beginning, I was quite naturally suited for doing shoes, but I was struggling a lot with clothes, especially I think the scale, not even scale in terms of the size. It's also the scale in terms of the volume you have to do. Like creating fashion collections is extremely intense and extremely hard, and you need just so much. I mean, it's not easy to do shoes, but I just really didn't never liked making clothes. So it was a kind of an intuition and luck that somehow what I decided to do somehow suited me and somehow worked for me. But it was a huge risk taken. And no, I don't think that at this age you can make a rational decision. I think you cannot. It's impossible. Maybe even 2 years later, you can't really make a rational, educated decision. This has to be a decision that is done together with your parents, because at the age of 15, it's impossible for you to be kind of mature enough to do this. At the same time, I am so glad that my parents supported my intuition, but there was a huge risk taken at that moment. And I still, until today, I don't think I am in a safe position in terms of kind of like financial safety, let's say that, no, because it's not an easy industry to be in, and it's super easy to, for example, when you lose your job, there are not so many jobs. So I think it's very risky. And yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know if I answered. Your question.
I think you have, because I find it really intriguing for somebody to decide to study shoemaking at the age of 15, and you explain it really well. Was the school exactly as you had imagined? Like, was it what you expected?
I don't think I had very high I don't think I had a lot of expectations. I think my expectations were created more around kind of the atmosphere of the school rather than like the specifics of the teachings there. I think that I just wanted to change the environment, and in that sense it really fulfilled my expectations, because it was for the first time in my life that I felt like people were a bit more open-minded and a bit less judgmental. It made me more like soft. Like the other school I was before, like this mentality was just so harsh, like bullying was quite common, it was everything, so it just didn't suit me very well. And I don't know, and I think that in that sense it was really good. I had some nice like some good friends there, and some teachers were really nice, inspiring. And I mean, in terms of the education, in terms of like the what you learn in terms of like painting, drawing, I think that was very robust. Like the base that you get was very robust and very went very deep, like the artistic education. And I don't know in like what were my expectations in terms of shoes. I didn't have much. I just wanted something different, and I got it.
Okay. Apart from the environment and like this family orientated, I would say supportive environment, did you pick up any skills and values that you still use today? Like something that goes
I
back?
think
So yeah.
I think many things. I even still remember what Maria Boresheva, my teacher, kind of, she was the head of this department of shoes. I remember some sentences she would tell me that I repeat myself until today. Like, of course, many things. I think I felt more aligned with the values of the teachers there than I felt aligned with the values of teachers at the previous school. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So if we stay there, is there anything now the students that are studying here now, not just at school, but especially in shoemaking department, is there anything they should like, I don't know, concentrate on, focus on, anything they
Yes.
should remember?
Yes. I have
What would you
something super
emphasize?
specific to say to this,
Okay.
and I don't know if they want to would like this advice, but I want to tell you that it's happening to me so much that people want to offer me a job as a shoe technician or as a material technician. And I just think that there is so much opportunity in the shoe industry outside of the design. Like, my recommendation would be, don't only focus on the design, but this school can offer you also the like the technical skills. Focus also, like, be interested also in the technical skills, because I actually there's a lot of potential in this. There's a lot of jobs in this, and even the jobs are better paid than the design jobs. And all the companies are looking for young people, for young technicians. You will have a lot of opportunities with this. You can travel. I mean, there are enough designers in Paris. There are enough designers in London, in big cities. Nobody probably needs a designer from Czechia. This is a super random. If that happens, it can happen, of course, if you work really hard. It's not impossible. But I'm just saying it also from my position, having 12 years of experience in the industry, and still sometimes having doubts about what I'm gonna do. Like, will I, like, what are my like opportunities? Like, what can I actually give? And I see a lot of value in understanding that this industry, it's much more than just design and just the artistic side. And I think it's super interesting to also dig deeper in the other spheres. And I think also teachers should support that. And I see, like, in Czech education, I think actually in our school in Uherské Hradiště, I think there was quite a good balance of this. I think it was understood that some people could be much kind of better more in the technical side and others more in the artistic. And I think in this sense, I think the school had quite a good balance. But I think then I see actually more issue than at colleges, who are really focused on this idea of the designer as this kind of idea that I don't even think exists anymore, that is kind of doing it alone in a way. And I think it's good to understand super early on that it's a teamwork, that you will be part of a team, and there are many kind of it's much more than just this maybe narrow idea of what we have about what a designer can do. So I would suggest that. I think I would feel more safe if I also maintain some of my technical skills that I just didn't maintain.
Okay, I think it's extremely valuable piece of information or piece of advice. So to concentrate on technical skills more, also on collaborative skills, I would say, as a
I don't want to
team worker.
discourage anyone and to be like,
I
like,
don't think
you
you're doing
can
that.
do design. No, I didn't want to. I just think it's important to be realistic and to understand that that there are not so many jobs in design.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you got an offer from Camper. Did that happen during your studies here, or was it later when you were already
It
studying in
happened,
college?
it happened at college. And it was there was this headhunter coming to our school, to Umprum, you know, the college, University of Arts and Applied Arts in Prague. And there was this headhunter that was coming around Europe. Actually, I think even she goes to Asia, but I think she mainly goes to Europe to check colleges. And she's often coming to Umprum. I don't know now at the moment, but she used to do that. And it was just that everybody would pass her a portfolio, and it wasn't immediately that they would call me, but at the moment that the position opened, I was a good fit for this position that opened at that moment. And it was luck again, because you know, at that moment, in, when was it, 2014, in this particular company, there was kind of restructuralization happening. That they changed a lot. They changed the departments completely. They changed the creative director, and they were hiring young designers, which doesn't happen very often. Another restructuralization like that happened then some maybe 5 years later. And in between, there is a time that it's about more consolidating the teams. And I mean, so it's not so often that positions like that open. And it's even less often that I would fit that profile. So it was just an extreme luck, because I fitted that profile of, they were looking for women's designer, and they wanted something quite young and new. And this type of work I had from my bachelor project, I think it fit quite well, because it was not like extremely refined and like extremely fashion, but it was also quite, they saw it probably quite contemporary. So I think it had this balance that it was just luck that I was the fit.
You keep saying it was just luck, which I don't believe so, because you have to be ready for this kind of strike of luck to happen. So
Yeah,
what
you have
were...
to, yes, you have to be ready. I agree with that. But I think it's also important part of the picture, because you can be also ready and not have the luck. So no, I am not saying that I was not ready. I was very, very ready, but I was also lucky. So it's these two things together that needs to happen at the same time. And I think to rely on the luck too much is dangerous. That's why I'm also saying it, that you know, yeah.
So, and at the college, when we say you were ready, what set of skills did you have to have at your disposal? So we already mentioned things you would concentrate on if you could go backwards, like you would concentrate on the technicalities. So what skills did you have at your disposal? How did you make yourself visible? How did you make yourself stand out
Yes.
of the crowd?
So I think I understood quite early on the importance of the presentation. I don't know why. I don't know how this happened, because we were not super pushed to do that. Or I think I somehow intuitively understood that the way you present your work is equally important as the work itself. And this is also things that are changing. Like maybe this also, it sounds like an older person saying that. Maybe younger person would say that it's more important than the work itself. And I think this is also where the shift is somehow happening. I think young people understand this probably better than me. Or it's just, this is where, you know, when I was at college, this is where the shift was happening. This is where the social media started. It was not existing before. I didn't even have an iPhone since, I don't know, maybe my last year at college or even. So it was this moment where I don't think this advice can be applied today in the same way. But at that moment, people didn't really think that the presentation was important. They really put everything into the work. But then they work maybe you know, like I was the one who had the portfolio ready and gave it to her. I gave it to the headhunter. Some other people wouldn't give it to her. They didn't have it, or they wanted to keep it for some reason I don't understand. And I was like, no, just take it. I prepared this for you. I had 3 of them printed. So this is maybe the kind of being ready to kind of think, advancing myself and like thinking. So maybe this is the one thing that I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just
I think you take it like as it was an intuitive reaction, but I think those pieces of advice are really important. So presentation, have your portfolio ready. Obviously, you must have been able to speak English.
yes, and this is another thing. This is another thing because yes, I think also this now it's those are the things that now when I say it, like have portfolio ready, I mean speak English. Before it was not that common. I mean, it was not common that you speak English in a more. I didn't, of course, didn't speak fluent English. I still make mistakes in English, but now I understand that it doesn't matter at all. Now I understand that even at Kemper, I would work with like maternal speakers who had worse English than me, and I'm not joking. Like they couldn't write sentence. Now this ChatGPT again, so situation is again different, but they really couldn't write an email without 15 mistakes. And before that, I was so scared to speak English, and I would even not open my mouth. And then I realized, you know, doesn't matter, doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody cares, and even like it's fine as far as you can kind of get across what you need to get across. It's fine. Yeah, so I think it was these things, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, to be open to like some opportunities.
Excellent. Yeah, I think this is really, yes, going to be very helpful. So, you got an offer. How did it happen, and what happened afterwards?
Yes, so I went there to do an interview, but I think by that moment they were probably already quite settled on choosing me. I think based on the portfolio, and somehow, I don't know. So I did this interview, and then they said that I can start in September, I think, or August. And then I moved there, moved to Mallorca, and I lived there for 6 years until we moved back to Czechia. So yeah, I mean, yeah, again, like now it is 12 years from that moment, and many things changed. Like now when I see new people coming to our company, it's so different. Like when we came there, as like I was 24 when I started, I was really learning everything like on the way, like even you know, like super simplistic, but like the technologies, it was a bit different. No, like to know Illustrator was not automatic. It's like to know English was not automatic. I feel like now in a way, just the base, it's just a baseline. It's like you cannot even start without speaking fluent English, having basic skills in Illustrator. This is the baseline now. Before, it was not that it was not the baseline. It was something you have to learn.
Okay.
So in a sense, I feel like now it's harder. Like the demands are harder, the expectations are bigger. I mean, I see now people coming to Kemper, and to me, those kids, they seem mature. I mean, they know, they are teaching me how to do things on a computer. They are super. They understand many things. They know about fashion. You know, like they are super like. And of course, they speak fluent English. I mean, of course, this is not even something that you think about. But when I was starting, you know, I think the expectations were not that high. I think they are getting higher every year. And it's, you kind of have to catch up. You have to still keep evolving. But then at the same time, you are gaining experience, which is also giving you some confidence and some calmness and some more of you know, nadhled different perspectives.
Like you can see the bigger picture.
Exactly, bigger picture. Exactly, you can easily see the bigger picture. So you also grow. But I would say now the expectations are bigger than they were 12 years ago when I started.
Okay, so they have to already have those like foundational skills before they even start thinking of getting a job in
I
another
think so.
company.
This is what I see. Then I mean, of course, there are ways like you can kind of fake certain things until you manage to do them. I think this is what you have to do at every job. This is at every job. Fake it till you make it. It has to happen at every job. Like you always have to say yes, 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 I can do it, and in the end, of course, you are gonna learn it. This type of technical skills, you are going to learn it. But I see the shift in a sense that now those younger people are more prepared than we were. Yeah.
Okay. If I go back to your job at Cambridge, you said you designed women's shoes first, and then you shifted to children's shoes. What is the biggest difference? Or is it the same process for me? I've got nothing to do with fashion, so is it the same thing?
No,
Is it just smaller?
No, it's a good question. It's a very good question. And I think so. I mean, to me, it's two different words. To me, it's another universe. And it's another way of thinking about the product. And I think which is challenging, for example, in a company where that's why there are not so many companies that do both. Because I mean, there are a lot of companies that only do kids shoes, and it has a reason, because it's a specific craft, it's a specific thing. Often the product has its own distribution. It has its own limitations that are very different. To me, it's a different way of thinking, that you have to go in between 2 days of thinking. There are different priorities about the product, different markets, different competence. It's very different, in my opinion.
So isn't it unusual to have a designer that does both?
To be honest, I don't know any shoe designers I mean personally, but the thing is, like, my experience also is very specific and quite limited, because I have only worked for one company and only maybe touched on other projects. But my experience is limited, and I don't know any other designer that would design kids and women's shoes. I have never met, and probably that person exists. I'm not saying that it does, that doesn't. And I have to imagine, because there are no schools that only focus on kids shoes. So I can imagine that the designers designing kids shoes are coming from either industries or obviously adult shoes. So probably most of them did the same transition that I did. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in Canberra from other than shoemaking perspective? Like, it's a completely different country, different culture, different language, different everything. Have you learned anything about yourself? Have you learned what we lack maybe in the Czech educational system that would be useful to have in another country? And have you learned anything that you now carry with you when you are even in the Czech Republic or somewhere else that will be a part of you forever?
Well, like, probably the only way to learn about your country is to see it from the outside. No, the way to learn it, it's very efficient way, of course, to learn about yourself. And before you travel elsewhere, you don't really realize the importance or your identity as a, for example, Czech person. Your identity as a Czech person or as a Slavic person or as a Eastern European person to you is invisible until you go somewhere else. And then you start to realize that actually this is your identity, that you actually are a little different, or different. I mean, it's still Europe also. No, it's still Europe. It's still easy in a sense. It's not that far. But yeah, you of course, this is when you, I think when you travel, you learn more about your home than about the country you are in, because I don't think I know a lot about Spain. I cannot say I know a lot about Spain. I mean, I have anecdotal knowledge of even Spanish, very, very bad knowledge of Spanish, and kind of a little bit of understanding from daily life. But I think you just understand much deeper your own country. And I think that this is the benefit. In a sense, you are more rooted in your own identity. So, and of course, I mean, it's my education. Like, this is the only, this is, I was there from 24 years old. I mean, this is what like created me what I am. So of course, I mean, most of the things I know I learned, I mean, of course before, but also during those years. So of course I learned a lot, or I hope, I mean, I had to learn something, no, in so many years, I hope.
So why did you decide to leave? It sounds like a really good position. It's what you had always wanted to be, a shoemaker. You worked for quite a well-known company, I would say. So why did you decide to leave?
That's actually also a good question. That is not maybe as simple as it sounds, because you know, also things are so different now than they were 12 years ago when I started in Kemper. It's hard to imagine what it was like before, I think now, because now I think from the point I am now, it's super clear that it was a good opportunity. It's super clear that it was something I had to do, and it was good experience, good company, etc. But at that point, I don't think it was that obvious to everyone. It was a company that, you know, also was trying to reestablish themselves, like to reposition themselves to be more kind of more relevant again in culture. It was not that attractive in terms of design before, was very casual. And for somebody, you know, our education at the college was about like aspiring to fashion type of thing, which is something now that I'm trying to push against a bit, because I think it's not healthy or rational approach. I think that it's much more interesting to try to be part of something meaningful, and it doesn't really have to be this shiny idea we have about fashion. But before, I mean, some of my friends at school, they were like, why would you want to go to this company? You know, I don't know what they were imagining that we would do with our life that would be more, I don't know, more like bigger, or like more artistic, or more just, I don't know. But I knew from the beginning it was a good idea. Or also, to be honest, I knew I wouldn't have many other options. I also understood that I was in a risky position, and I understood that probably I would have to work in a coffee place. I mean, it's not like I had many choices also. So, I mean, it's yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so why did you come back then?
So I came back because I need to think why. It probably had something to do with my daughter being born, and we were missing more like a sense of community in Mallorca. And yeah, I think that was a big reason. also at that point, I was working there already for many years, and I thought that maybe it would be possible at that moment to transition to freelancing, which when I resigned, I was not sure if they would allow me to do that, but I thought it might be possible. It would not be possible only after 2 years there, for example. Like I needed more experience and also understanding the processes and everything. So it was a combination of things, and then also COVID speeded this up a bit. And yes, I was also missing, I think, Czechia and Prague, and yeah.
Okay, I think this is a really good point. You said you transitioned to being a freelancer, and that's one of the things many of our students aspire to be. They want to become freelancers, and they have this, I would say, understandably naive vision of being a freelancer. So what is it like for you? How has it worked out for you to be a freelancer?
Well, I aspire to be employed. So there are no benefits to being a freelancer. If you imagine being a freelancer, you know what I think. Try to use, anytime you want to use the word freelancer, say OSVČ. It describes much better what it means. Because when you say freelancer, there is this word free, that it gives us good feeling. But the only thing it means is that you have to pay your own taxes. You have to do the same amount of work. So there's no difference in terms of, maybe you think that you will have to do same or more amount of work for the same or less money. So I think there are a lot of benefits to being employed. And yeah.
And you mentioned, how do you get your clients actually? So when you are a freelancer and you're not employed.
I have no idea how to do it. I have no idea how to get the clients. I think about it all the time. I have no idea. Somebody needs to tell me. I really have no idea. I don't know. I have a friend who works as a freelancer. Well, I didn't speak with her for many years, but she works as a freelancer in Italy. And I think the reason she has clients is because she's in Milan, or she used to be based in Milan. And I think this way she made a lot of contacts. Also, I think Italy is probably the best country to be freelancer in, because there are so many of these like little companies, and kind of a lot of the industry still is there.
Yes.
But I think being a freelancer doesn't mean you don't need to contact with people. In the end, there still has to be a point of contact. So maybe if you listen to this in 5 years, it's going to be laughable because everything will change in terms of AI. I don't know. But like, I think this type of work that is around the product, I don't think this actually will change a lot. So
so what do you have to do? Do you have to have your own website? Do you have to be connected to your social media? Do you have to be very active on your social media? For the clients that you have got so far, how did they contact you? How did they find out about you? Was it still through Camper, or was it?
I don't have clients. My only client is Camper, and this is super important to say. I don't have other clients. I have basically, it's a full-time. The amount of work that I get is like a full-time job, and this is what I'm telling you. Like, I have no idea how to get other clients, and maybe also, maybe if I make a lot of effort, maybe I could find out. But also, like, I have been so consumed by my work in Camper. But actually, I'll tell you one thing, because I think maybe this is interesting. I got a call last week from one person, like business person, one man who is in charge of one company in Czechia that they are doing children clothes, and now they want to also do kids shoes. And he was saying if I was interested in working with them, like on the shoe side. And the way he found me was not through social media, was not through LinkedIn. He found me through a friend that I met in Paris, that I did an internship there when I was still in college. I was super young. So it was even through a personal contact that was, I don't want to exaggerate, but 18 years old, personal contact. This is how he found me. And this is for the first time I got like a proper offer from somebody. This was not through social media. I mean, like a more serious offer. I mean, I got some offers through LinkedIn, for example, for like a fast fashion jobs that I was not interested in. So I think this type of work maybe you can get through like being visible on the internet.
So networking.
Yeah, and I'm not super. I am not super good at this, but I think about this a lot, about if we overestimate the benefit of social media, because in a sense I feel like it can bring you things and it can open new doors, but I feel like we overestimate this. I think in the end the personal contact is the one that this is where there are the real opportunities. This is what I was talking about with my friend from Milan. Like she had really good jobs, but I know why, because she really knew everybody. She was from there. She was around. Like I don't think it's that easy to find these opportunities through the internet. I don't want to I mean, I have always been really like since the beginning of the internet, I really I always was on the internet. No, I wanted to be visible on the internet. I don't know why. Again, this is something just I intuitively enjoyed. I had the blog at the beginning. I had all the social media. I don't know. I like to see how it works. I like to, I don't know, see what I can do with it. But I have to say, not many big things happened for me from this, and didn't bring me money. Maybe I'm still waiting for a moment that maybe it's going to happen, and then I will say like nothing like this is true. Actually, it's been super helpful, and I made some contacts. But I think it's good to understand it can bring you a lot, but I think also don't put all your hopes in that. I think it's good to at all the levels, and I think not to forget the real people is important.
I so much agree with you. It's unbelievable. I definitely agree. Yeah, and that's what I teach our students. Like, don't forget networking. We are humans. We don't have to be scared of AI, because in the end, it will be all about human touch, human contact, human sense of belonging somewhere. I have one more thing I want to talk about. You mentioned shoes and pushing against the trends in fashion, and I think this is really good starting point for one of my last questions about sustainability, because that's one of the buzzwords that kind of rules the world at the moment. And I think we have been looking at it from the wrong perspective. Like sustainability is something that can last forever, and we don't concentrate on the design. Like you design something that, if you have something trendy, you can see it. Like I've been renovating a house and there's a bathroom from the 1990s, and you can see it's a bathroom from 1990s because the design is so 1990s. So if we design something that is like timeless, and that's one of the reasons people, I would guess, buy a handmade shoe or buy a shoe that is not like from fast fashion chain store or something. So what is your perspective on that? What is your
You mean like my perspective on trends?
opinion? Yeah, not just trends, but how you said you trying to push against those
Because
trends.
it's
So
a
how do you do
it's a
it?
big question, because it's
I
such a big
know.
question. Like, I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know how to approach this question. I think it's a good, I don't know. I think you have to be able to build your identity deeper. Like, you have to understand what you like, and then you have to see trends as something that can inspire you to open you up to something, rather than something that you are obligated to. I think it's good to see a trend and be inspired and be like, maybe I never thought about it, that it can be done this way or that way. But then you have to think, is it actually something that you like? So I think the only way to fight trends is to understand what you like. And the way to do it is, I don't know, because it's not easy, but I don't know if I'm even answering the question. But I think when I was saying that I was trying to push against like fashion, maybe I meant it more in a sense like the industry, and like the idea that we have about the industry as something kind of nice, like a glitter and shiny. And that's maybe just trying to explain the students that is not as maybe attractive as it seems, but that's not the same as trends. Like, this is, and that's another topic. I don't know. Do you want to ask more about the trends or more about
No, more about sustainability in sense of like
the sustainability part?
producing something not just because of materials, but
Sustainability.
producing something that is timeless, very personal, something that you would spend money on.
So I think there probably are will always be both markets, no? Like there will be people who aspire more to this timelessness and quality, and then there will also be people who just they are intrigued by this idea of newness and change, and I don't know, like a constant exploration and constant attention, and I think also there is a space in between those two things. And I don't know, like, I don't think we are going towards a utopia where people are more understanding the value, of a craft. And I don't see that super in a positive way. I see both, and I see even polarization bigger and bigger. You see, I don't know.
Okay. Last question. Would you have done it all again? Would you have chosen your field? Even though it's hard, obviously, and difficult to do?
I mean, there is no good or bad decision. There is just decision. And I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what would have been the alternative. But I don't know. I think I am trying to challenge myself, because I think it's really easy to say yes and to be like, of course, it's all worth it. But I also don't believe in that. I also don't believe that it's always worth it. And I think that, I don't know, I'm happy where I am right now, and I understand, but I also understand that the reason I'm doing okay is also because I have been very lucky at every step of the way.
Mhm.
And I think that's fine. I think doesn't mean I'm not, hardworking or anything, but I think it's also good to understand this and to be okay with that. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's excellent. You have given us lots of very constructive and useful advice. Good luck, more luck. Continue being lucky,
Thank you.
and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And
it's been lovely talking to you. And just, I'll turn it off and we'll first.
okay.